Time for a Talltale short.
In a secluded corner of the world, where mist-kissed trees whispered secrets and vibrant ferns reached out like curious hands, there was an island. On this island, nestled in a valley cushioned by emerald moss, lived a village of Sasquatches. Among them was young Soren, whose fur was the deep brown of rich, turned earth, with eyes that sparkled like the first stars of evening. For generations, Soren's village had relied on the silver bounty of the sea, fish, gleaming and plentiful. But the villagers never ventured far from the shore. Tales as old as the ancient cedars spoke of ominous creatures lurking in the deep, and the villagers, bound by these legends, dared not tempt fate. Instead, they cast their lines from the safety of the land, fishing the shallows of the shoreline. But those once teeming waters now lay still. It had been years since anyone in the village had caught a fish. Instead, they foraged in the forest for their meals, resorting to such delicacies as slugberry stew and fern-frond fritters. One sun-drenched morning, as Soren sat on a cool, smooth stone by the sea, he noticed something that made his heart leap. Out in the deeper water, fish were dancing. Leaping and twirling, their silvery scales caught the sunlight in a mesmerizing display. Why do we starve while the fish play just out of reach? Soren wondered aloud, his voice a blend of frustration and yearning. His mind, as agile as his feet, started to weave an idea as brilliant as a sunbeam breaking through the forest canopy. A raft, a simple, sturdy vessel to carry him where he needed to go, beyond the shallow waters and into the deeper sea, where the fish danced freely. For days and nights Soren worked, his hands deftly tying together logs with vine and securing a deck of woven reeds. His raft grew under his touch, like a new friend coming to life. The scent of fresh-cut wood and the soft swish of the reeds became a comforting melody as he worked. But the villagers, upon discovering Soren's daring plan, were aflutter like a startled flock of birds. "Old legends warn us, Soren," pleaded Elder Mara, her fur gray as the stormy sea, her voice quivering like a fragile leaf. "The deep water is a dangerous, forbidden place." Soren, his eyes steady and warm, replied gently, "But Elder Mara, our legends also speak of courage and cleverness. I believe we can find a new path that honors both our safety and our needs." The villagers exchanged uneasy glances, their worry as palpable as the damp morning fog. They cherished Soren, this thoughtful youth with a heart as big as the island, but his idea was like a path untrodden, shadowed, and uncertain. One evening, as Soren was adding the finishing touches to his raft, a group of villagers, led by his own father, approached with stern faces. "Soren," his father said, his voice deep and resonant like the roll of distant thunder, "we cannot allow you to do this. We must think of the safety of our village, our traditions. We are stopping you for your own good." Soren's heart felt like it was being squeezed by an unseen hand. But as he looked into his father's eyes, so similar to his own, he saw not just sternness, but a flicker of fear and love. Soren nodded slowly, feeling the weight of his village's worry as surely as he felt the cool sea breeze. But within him, a steadfast flame of determination continued to burn, warming him against the chill of doubt. "That night," Soren whispered to the moon, "I promise to be careful. I will show everyone that we can live without fear and with full bellies again." As dawn painted the sky with shades of rose and gold, Soren set his plan into motion. Before the village stirred awake, he gently pushed his raft into the water. It bobbed cheerfully, as if eager for adventure. With a deep breath, tasting the salt-kissed air, Soren stepped aboard. The sea, vast and sparkling under the morning sun, seemed to welcome him. As Soren paddled further from shore, he felt the world expand around him. The island, his lifelong home, became a soft shape on the horizon, but Soren's resolve was as solid as the mountains. Hours passed like drifting clouds. Then in the deep, open water, Soren saw it, a school of fish, glimmering like a treasure. His heart soared. Here was proof that his dream could be reality. But in that joyful moment, Soren felt a change. The once gentle waves grew more insistent, urging him to attention. The sky, so clear at dawn, now gathered clouds like worried thoughts, and the wind began to howl a warning. A storm was brewing. Soren's fur bristled with tension. He thought of his father's stern face, Elder Mara's trembling voice, and the fearful eyes of his villagers. In that stormy sea, he felt the truth in their warnings. Yet, as he steadied himself, Soren also felt the sturdiness of his raft beneath him. A raft built from knowledge and care, a symbol of his love for his village. His heart, steady as a drumbeat, told him he could face this storm and learn from it. In the heart of the storm, with wild waves leaping like furious giants and wind howling like a chorus of unsettled spirits, Soren realized the gravity of his mistake. He had underestimated the sea, treated it like a puzzle to be solved rather than a force to be respected. His raft, though crafted with care, was tossed about like a leaf in a tempest. In that chaotic dance of water and wind, Soren understood the wisdom in the old tales. They were not just stories, they were echoes of respect for the mighty sea. His heart ached with regret, but also with a newfound appreciation for his village's caution. As Soren clung to his reeling raft, he made a discovery. The storm had driven the fish into his nets. In his peril, he had still found a glimmer of success. His eyes widened with resolve. He would not let his village down. With a spirit as steadfast as the island's ancient stones, Soren navigated his way back toward the shore, each pull of his paddle a promise to himself and his village. The storm, as if recognizing his newfound respect, slowly began to ease. When Soren, soaked and humbled, finally returned to the shore, his village was there. His father stood at the forefront, eyes stormy with a blend of relief and anger. "Soren," his father said, his voice trembling like the sea before a storm, "you acted recklessly, and we feared we had lost you to your own boldness." Soren, looking into his father's eyes, replied softly and with humility, "I understand now, Father. The sea is not just a challenge to be conquered. It's a part of our world that we must respect and learn to live with, as our stories teach." Before another word could be spoken, Soren gently pulled a line from the side of his battered raft. There, gleaming even in their storm-soaked state, was a string of fish, lively and abundant. The village gasped collectively. In Soren's act of daring, flawed, yet well-intentioned, they saw not just the folly of youth, but a spark of possibility. Soren's father's stern expression softened, and in his eyes danced a flicker of pride mixed with lingering worry. He stepped forward and placed a heavy hand on Soren's shoulder. "You have brought us hope when we were lost," his father whispered, "and you have learned a profound lesson, my son. We must find a way to merge the wisdom of our past with the needs of our present." From that day on, guided by Soren's adventurous spirit and tempered by the respect instilled by their legends, the village began to explore new ways of living with the sea, not as fearful subjects of an untamed force, but as respectful partners in a delicate dance with nature. And as for Soren, he became a bridge between the old world and the new, his journey a reminder that daring to dream, while respecting the wisdom of those who came before us, can lead to a harmonious and abundant life.
This was a Talltale short, small but mighty stories, released daily in audio format. Create, read, and share more tales at talltale.com.